Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is my episode 12 of my Let's Play to End All Wars. I know last episode I called that episode 12, but that was actually episode 11. But here we go. It's only been one night since I made my last episode, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple of turns because I do now have Italy in the war, and I just want to see. Oh, and one thing I did is I turned on the music and I turned on the sounds just to give you a little taste of what it would be like if you owned the game. The music kind of puts you in the mood. I know at some point I'll turn it back off because for Let's Plays it is kind of annoying because it sometimes gets so loud it almost drowns out my words. So at some point I'll probably turn it off, but for now I'm just going to leave it on. I hope you can hear me. I'm sure you probably can because this song that's playing right now is kind of low, but at some point a song will be on that probably gets kind of loud, and at that point I might turn it off. But let's take a look at diplomacy right now, and as I mentioned in my last episode, Italy has joined the war. They are on my side, the Western Entente side. So I put my one major diplomat uh, in the United States to try to bring them into the war as quickly as possible. Let's take a look at um, technology and research. It looks like the Central Powers are all level 2 except tank research. And the Western Entente is all level 2 except tank research as well. So about the same. Let's see, fund artillery research. So let's take a look down here. Everything is about the same. In Basra, everything looks to be the same. I've captured Kut El Elmira, and this guy's still moving here, but he's going to be. Let's see. Now, see, that's the horse sounds. I did not want to put him in Kut El Elmira inside the city. Since the song's starting to get a little loud now. Let's move him up and see if we can't start making a move on Baghdad. It looks like they have some a fleet here called the Tiger Squadron. It's probably riverboats, but we might be able to capture that if we sneak up on them. Let's see. A couple of turns ago, I put him on a fleet, put this formation on a fleet in Tunisia, or no, Algiers, and brought him to Alexandria. So let's move him up. I could enable Corps Command for him, but I really want him to be a general of the army a general of an army at some point. So let's use rail. Takes him 13 days. Good. Did I select occupation of Salonika? Definitely want to do that because, well, let's see what it says. After the entry of Bulgaria into the Great War on the side of the Central Powers, the Entente sent troops into Salonika and Macedonia with the support of pro-Entente forces within Greece. This opened the Balkan front of the war, which would ultimately see the arrival of more than 700,000 Entente soldiers. So we're going to play that because what that does is give me a base here. Okay. That was enough of that. That was very loud. So I just wanted you to see that there is a little bit of period flavor with the music, and they have something like 20 to 30 songs that play. And, if you're playing it on your own computer, you can turn the sound down a little bit so that it's not as loud as that. And I could probably do that, but I'd rather probably just have it turned off at this point. So anyway, when that Salonika card gets played, I will have some French troops in the city of Salonika, and I can use them to start attacking into Bulgaria or even into the Ottoman Empire, because this also comes with Salonika. I don't know if I can cross those straits, but every time I played, I've never really attacked from here because I think you have to do an amphibious landing, and this is a pretty strong fort, so I don't. And this is definitely a strong fort. Gallipoli, if you know anything about history, this is where an amphibious assault, I think, was took place, and it was with Australian troops, and it was a disaster. And I think a lot of Australian troops, I really need to look that up, but I think a lot of Australian troops were lost here, a lot of casualties. So somebody probably knows a lot more about that than I do, but I have heard about Gallipoli and the Gallipoli landings, and so I don't plan on redoing that one. Okay, one thing I noticed over here is in this region, I have two armies, the Troisième and the Cinquième armies, and then a couple of corps. I actually want to move one of these up. Which one would be best? I think it would be Lamrezak's army. So I'm going to move him up because I don't think I need two armies sitting there. And I'm going to move him to Koblenz. We're going to rail him there. Take 6 days. Perfect. Let's move him up one. This is Commander Joffrey. He is the overall general of the French forces. I'm using him as kind of a spearhead. Probably not very historical, but if he's got some troops, I'm going to use them. So let's see. Do I want to move him up any further? Let's move him up 7 days. We can actually move him into this region, Geissen, and have him start moving on to Erfurt. And look at this, the castle is now at full strength. I don't know if I want to attack Mondergoltz, but because this guy will probably march to the sound of guns, Bombilo, and that might not be a very good. That might not have a very good outcome. As I mentioned probably in either my first or second episode, I play with a strategy of hit them where they ain't, which is an old baseball term, but it basically means I like to attack where they don't have a lot of strong troops and weaken them that way. And then eventually they come to me and attack me, and they usually attack me and I'll have a position of power. And then I usually win those battles, so that's the way I like to do it. I don't like frontal assaults. I don't like attacking into Dortmund when they have more power than I do. I guess I could, do a pincer attack with both of these, but it's not a guarantee that they both get there at the same time, and I just don't want to do it. I'm going to keep these guys here. I might actually. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I have the Reserve de Ministère, 775 power, the British Expeditionary Force at 737, and the British Army. So yeah, let's. I'm going to move him to Duisburg, and I'm going to move. I'm actually going to move the British Army up. And that way I can try to capture Duisburg. It doesn't look like it has any troops defending it. And, well, it might have one small garrison. The Rhine-Nord Division is, well, no, that's a fleet. Um, these little stars or circles of color. The blue means a fleet, and I think the green means that there are land forces there, but I don't know what. But not very many, I'm pretty sure. So I'll probably take that fairly quickly, and it's a strategic city. So yeah, let's do that. And do we have anything else going on? What do we have here? That's just a one unit militia. Not much going on with him. Do I have any just sitting around doing nothing? I hate it when formations just are just sitting around doing nothing when they could be being used somewhere. Oh, this guy has been unlocked. As I said, when Italy joins a war, he will unlock and be ready for use. So I am actually going to rail him to Italy. 15 days. Perfect. And as you can see, all of these generals are not very good, but once we start getting them geared up and armies built, they'll be formidable anyway, and they'll be able to take on some of these forces. As you can see, these Central Powers, they're Austrians. Um, they are entrenched very probably to the highest level of entrenchment. That's what this bar of looks like metal. It could be stone walls or whatever. That's what that means. That's one of the highest level of entrenchments. It's because they've been pretty much been camping there for the complete beginning of the war, waiting. But there are not very many. They're not very large troop formations, so I will push them out and we'll start marching on Vienna. What else is going on? Any any troops created? Okay, yeah, I've already made my movements for all these artillery pieces that were completed this turn. So, all right, let's see what the victory screen says. I think I looked at this in the last episode, just just to see what these numbers look like after Italy joined the war. One thing I'd like to point out is if you look at this, it'll say forest, clear, whatever, depending on what region I'm moving over. So as you can see, some of these say clear, but they also have what looks like rain, and that's because it is raining there. So if we look at the weather, this is all mud, which means it's raining because the ground is mud, but the atmosphere is rain, is what basically it's telling us. And then all this land up here in Germany is clear weather. And you can also mouse over it and see what kind of weather it has as well. And as you can see, all of these German provinces have clear weather. But then this one has mud. Malmedy has mud. Maastricht. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's mud. So all of those are mud. The light brown is mud, and the green is clear. I don't pay that much attention to weather. I think if I played on um, conditions where there was a lot of attrition, and if I played on conditions where there was a lot of cohesion loss, if you moved in bad weather, I would definitely pay attention to the weather. But I'm not playing with those conditions on. In my next playthrough, I probably will, just because I've found that with the settings I have, this game is fairly easily won. I you know I imagine I'll probably win this one, which I don't want to spoil the surprise, but It's looking like I'm going to win this one. Look at that. He hasn't. His power's only at 1,000, and that's the Grand Fleet. It's supposed to be 12,000. Oh well. Anything else going on that I want to take a look at? That's really it. So let's finish this turn. Early May. And I already see that I was talking about in the last episode the game called War in the East, which is on Steam now. And I looked out on YouTube and I already see some Let's Plays. Pew 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 Choo, Pew Pew Choo Choo is already doing several Let's Plays of War in the East. If you want to take a look at that, he seems like he knows that game pretty well. And it's pretty interesting. As I said, it's more of a computer representation of a board war game, this is a little bit as well. And it's almost like you have the actual counters from a war game on a board, and that's what you're looking at. But of course, there are things that the computer can do that obviously you can't do on just a board game. So you have that. The graphics aren't the best in the world, but as any fan knows of these types of games, graphics are not what you're playing these games for. You're playing for the challenge, you're playing for the strategy, you're playing for the using your brain power to outwit the enemy. And it's not necessarily tied to the graphics. As you can see, this as modern games go, the graphics here are not the greatest, but for a war game, this is a fantastic graphic presentation. You won't see this kind of color and vividness on a real war game that's played on your kitchen table. I mean, you might a little bit, but this is some very good artwork for these types of games, if you ask me. So this turn is about to start executing. The days are about to start moving, and we'll see if we get any battles. I really do enjoy this game. It's more of a, if you ask me, it's more of a strategic type game, and then you have Civil War II, which is to me a little bit more almost a mix. It's a lot closer to being a tactical war game, which makes that a very interesting game as well. And I'd really like to do a Let's Play of Civil War II. I always play the Union, but just because. And that is the sound effects. Look at that, Mata Harry's commanding that force. That's insane. She's in the board. Okay, so there you have a little bit of sound effects. They've actually put her in charge of troops. That's insane. They must be in real need of generals, because that is insane that she is the commander of an actual formation. I showed you Bolo Pasha's card, and he's not even a one-star general. That would be insane to put troops underneath him, but they've done it for her. I don't know. Look at that. Controlled by Mata Hari Truck. Oh, well, she shows her as a one-star general with a 200 command ratings, which aren't good at all. This is something that sometimes happens. An attempt to perform the decision send diplomat in region United States was unsuccessful. When you see that, you just got to replay it. It's just a way to, I guess, to take money from you. I don't know that it adds to the gameplay, but whatever. We'll play it again. Sing Tao. I keep checking this, and it's still going. It's still ongoing. Um, Southeast Ottoman Empire. Still have not run into any troops, any Ottoman Empire troops. So that is good. My Australians. Oh, wait a minute. Where the heck? You know what? I know what just happened. And this is going to kind of annoy me a little bit. Somehow or another, they disembarked before they moved. That happens sometimes, and it's very frustrating when that happens because it's just waste time. So I'm going to move these. I'm going to move this back. Let's put them all together. I'm going to move them back to Australia and pick them up. How annoying is that? But sometimes if you check it right before you start executing the turn, you can kind of catch that. Sometimes not. It's fairly annoying when it happens. And this guy hasn't moved. He's a very good general. He's like a 5.56, and they usually have him moving and attacking, but he's staying fairly stable right now, or fairly, fairly stuck in wherever position he's in. Let's see. He's inactive, but we'll see. 10 days. That's fine. Salonika. Oh yeah, let's take a look at Salonika. And this is what I was talking about last turn when I said Salonika becomes ours with some French troops. Maurice Sorel is the commander of these troops, and what I usually do is I bring in several formations here so that I can start pushing towards Constantinople because it is fairly close, and should be fairly easy to take. These two regions are held by rebels, but they're aligned to us, I think, which is fine. Let's see what Greece's diplomacy level is. Which one is Greece? Oh, here we go. Greece, 81% Entente, so they'll join fairly soon. They're not a huge major power in World War One, but you can build a couple of formations with them. Usually a grand total of about maybe 400 power in all the troops you can build with them, which is not a lot, but it's enough to garrison Greece and make sure that as long as you don't do anything really stupid, the Bulgarians won't attack into Greece. France. Alright, let's just let's put him on defensive mode right now. Let him gain a little bit of combat power back. Here's the castle now. Duisburg doesn't really say. Can't really see anything. Sometimes it's hard to see. I think I could actually assault this because it doesn't look like it has any walls. I'm going to go ahead and assault and just see if I can't take it fairly quickly. And I don't know if Kitchener will support him across that river, but I think he will. But as you can see, they're kind of moving out. Looks like they're moving out a little bit. I think last turn one of them was in Wessel and the other one was in Dortmund, and it looks like one of them is moving out. I could be wrong on that, but it doesn't matter that much, I don't think. And I'm going to just leave him in Gießen for now because it has not went over to French military control yet. And let's see. Here There's Bolo Pasha. And he's giving me some information on these guys, but see, it doesn't really, I mean, Big Whoop, that doesn't really tell me too much. One thing I'll point out is when you pick it up and it has these red colored tiles, usually if you're an army, you can't just bypass it, but I think because he's a spy, he can bypass those. But if it was him, he couldn't move through there because their military zone of control keeps you from moving troops through his region and the region surrounding as well. So if I wanted to bypass him with this guy, I would have to come all the way around and come in from here, which I don't really care to do, but because I'm using him to kind of to offset him anyway, I'm not going to move him. He's nice and entrenched right there and has this natural river as a defensive placement for him. I'm not really sure what this Karl von Oven is doing. I don't know if he has any troops with him. I don't think he does. So anyway, all right. Let's see. Did I already do that turn? Yeah, I did the turn. So these guys, not them. These guys should start. Yeah, here we go. These generals are unlocked at least. We'll start moving him up. This guy's unlocked. And I can actually start making armies out of these guys. This is going to create an army. If you look over here, it says 37 of 24. When I click this button, it says create HQ. He now has 49 command points because he's really a full army at this point. And I can start building him up some more. This guy is the overall commander of the Italian forces. This guy is basically a corps. I really want to go ahead and just move him up. I'm going to move him over here. He's inactive, so let's do it by rail. And then we have this guy. Let's move him up. The Bosun. Gonna take 17 days. Alright. I'm sure you've had enough of the sound effects now as well. Alright. So this is the Italy theater. As you can tell, they have a decent amount of combat power. And I actually can build some troops as well. And once these start building out and unlocking, that's just more power for me. Let's see if we can build some Italian heavy artillery. Oh, I tried to build it in a region that you're not allowed to build it in. So I built one heavy and one medium. And now I could build one more medium, a couple more maybe. Was it 75 war supply? Yeah. Let's build one more. I think they start off with a very limited amount of artillery. They really need artillery. And as you can see here, my artillery ammunition is up to 5,189 just from building those two munitions factories. Let's look over here, just see if they are. It's kind of weak, 356. I could probably push through there if I really wanted to, but I really don't. I really want them to come out of these entrenchments. And he's not really entrenched, but I'm not going to attack Metz front on. I'm just not going to do it. And yeah, that's okay. And that's okay. anybody in Verdun yet? No, they're still making their way to Verdun. Let's move this guy down to Verdun as well. We'll put him in with them. What else is these are all Italian formations receiving replacements and things like that. Yeah, I've already gone through that. We won a battle against the Central Powers in region Marburg. And if you click these cross guns, it'll actually show you the battle screen again. And I lost 9,000 men to Matahari's 14,000. Not a big enough victory to actually get any national morale out of that, but either way, it did push her back. That's another thing. If you meet up, sometimes if you meet up and you have the larger force and you lose, but even though you lose, you have the larger force, so they retreat. It's kind of yeah, we know we won, but we know that you outnumber us and we're probably going to lose the next battle, so we're going to actually retreat a little kind of deal on that. And I wish that was military control because I really want to cross here into the Fulda Gap. Fulda Gap. I don't know if that's the actual gap, but Fulda. And then to Erfurt. Then on to Leipzig and Potsdam and the big prize, Berlin. Victory points. I'm at 97. I won. Well, I got one national morale from options and events. I don't know what that was for. And it might have been for Italy joining the war. I'm not sure. And war weariness, -1, so I basically stayed the same. Central Powers looks like they added 1. They are they still have a pretty good combat force. So, all right, let's finish this turn. And now it's real quiet because you don't get to hear the music and you don't hear the sound effects, because sometimes you hear some of the sound effects while the turn's executing. It can get pretty loud, and that rumbling kind of machine sound that you heard, I think, are the planes flying recon, and they're very loud. So that's why I turn the sounds off for the Let's Play. When I'm just playing just for my own, pleasure, I turn it on because I kind of like the sounds. I turn it down a little lower, but I have the sounds on. And if you notice during the battle, you heard Germans yelling for the Kaiser or something like that, and that's pretty interesting. And like I was saying about War in the East, Pew Pew Choo Choo is doing a Let's Play. He's done, I think, the road to Minsk, and then he did the road to Leningrad. Now he's doing, I think, the road to Smolensk, and it just gives you an idea of what War in the East is like. And Gary Grigsby, who developed War in the East, also just recently, within the last 6 months or so, came out with War in the West, which is the D-Day landings and the Italian landings in Sicily, and combines it into one big campaign. And it's I have that game as well, and it's if you're interested in D-Day and things like that, it might be interesting to you to pick up that game. It's pretty expensive. I expect it'll probably be on Steam at some point, and but it's the kind of game that you can play for 2 to 3 years and still get enjoyment out of it. It's the kind of game you keep forever and play forever if you're a war gamer. If you're not a war gamer, you probably won't like it that much, but if you're a war gamer, you'll probably like it. I like it, and I like War in the East. And there's another game. I think Gary Grigsby developed it as well, called War in the Pacific, which is the biggest game, I think, biggest war game ever. But it's amazingly big. It models every single ship in the Pacific theater during World War II. Every single ship, down to transports and everything. Like any ship that has a name, it models in that game as a distinct ship. So you control everything in that game. It's a monster game. And it looks like we're about to take Duisburg. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Lord Kitchener has marched to the sound of guns to help him assault the city. So maybe somebody will be promotable after this turn. I might try to do a real quick turn before I end this episode. Um, this episode is starting to get a little long. It looks like it's about 35 minutes long, maybe. And I'll try to go a little quicker. I know it takes a little while for me to go through a turn, but to really get the full knowledge of each turn, you have to go through almost every one of these messages. If you don't, you'll end up missing something. JFC Fuller is now available. If I play him, he gives the Western Entente 75 points towards tank research. Well, of course I want that. Senussi Uprising. I think the Central Powers plays this card, and it is after Italy entered the Great War, the Ottoman Empire and Germany supplied the Senussi under Grand Senussi Sayyid Ahmad Sharif with funding and arms to attack the Italians in Libya and the British in Egypt and Sudan. So it's basically another uprising. Wait a minute. Oh, I can fund infantry and convoy and anti-submarine research. So what that means is what I'm going to do is I've done this before and I'm doing it again. I'm going to play print state funds on both because I'm running out of money. Let's see. We won a battle against the Central Powers. Wow. Oh. I gained one and lost one. But then when you play print state funds, that costs you one national morale. So I would have been 96, but I'm at 94. It's worth it. I'm still 5 points ahead of the Central Powers, and I need that money. So let's see. I gain control of Duisburg and Region Duisburg from Central Powers. You gain control of Depot and Region Duisburg from Central Powers. Sir, the men of Egyptian Serdar rapidly improved. Yeah, it's no big deal. Look at this crap. I still don't have anybody promotable. I think this is something wrong with the game. I think there's some kind of bug going on with the game because usually by this time I've had plenty of chances to promote people. But for some reason, not in this one. Let's move him to Wessel. And this is von Houtier. That's von Bilo. This looks like von Karlowitz is commanding a corps. Let's move him there. Actually, what I can do with him is once he's down here, I can start moving him up like this as opposed to attacking straight across that river into Castle, because you get a fairly big uh, combat penalty when you cross a river like that, and I don't want to do that, because at 532 crossing a river against 231, and he's very entrenched, there's a good chance I'd actually lose that battle. So, and this guy moving from here might come down and help him. You never know. So I don't want to do that. Let's move him. Let's see what I can. He'll eventually get captured and executed. So, good luck, pal. You'll need it. Because when they figure out who you are, they'll shoot you. Okay. Now let's see. He's full up and he has several artillery. What does this guy have? He needs 2. So let's pull out 2. I think it's 1 for 1. Who else? Lamrazat. Man, he's at 54. He could add every one of these. Let's move these up. 19 days. Well, he's moving there. We'll get them to him. I'm still gonna kind of hold the line right here, and this guy, what is his power rating? It doesn't really say, does it? Oh, wait a minute. 5, 4, and 1. So he's a 1 on defense. And Kitchener is a 4 on offense. I'm going to move him up. We are going to attack straight on. Why not? Let's see. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I looked at that. Nobody is promotable. Let's look down here. Still no troops from the Ottoman Empire. Let's see if Australia. Yeah, still 17 days. He must have taken a little while to get going, so it cost him some days movement. How about here? He's active. 6 days, 12 days. Let's see if we can't cause a little trouble. Let's move him up too, to support this guy. And then let's see what's going on in Salonika. See, they oppose us with this regular and militia, but that's not very strong. I don't want to actually target him, because if he moves, I don't want to follow him. But I want to move into that region and see if we can't get a battle going. He's got 2 days. He's besieging. He's 37 of 49. Let's move him up. Who else? Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. These units aren't very strong, but you get enough of them together and they're good enough. Have them all congregate at Bologna. Should have made sure they were all moving by rail. Because Because if we don't, they'll take forever to get there. He's going by rail. He's going by rail. Move him by rail. Move him. Move by rail. Stay with him. And actually, let's see what I want to do. Who else is here? Let's see if we can't move him around here. 23 days. That's a little bit of a gamble because this guy could move there and attack. Actually, we'll move him into there. That way he can protect that fort. And if he wants to move into a mountain region right there, then he's welcome to do it. I will move this guy here. We'll see. Alright, let's save this. Let's execute this turn. And I'm going to actually keep running this turn. Might run a little long, might be 45 minutes, because I want to see what happens here. So, we'll see. So anyway, yeah, I think I'd like to do at some point a Let's Play of War in the West, which features D-Day and the D-Day landings, and maybe even a Let's Play of War in the Pacific, because I have that game as well. These games are very expensive compared to other games, but they will last you a lifetime, and they are pure war games, and they're basically the war game to end all war games for the theater that they're in. Eventually, he's going to tie them all together in some way or fashion and make it World War II, basically. But for now, they're 3 separate games, and I'd really like to do a War in the Pacific game. I'm really interested in that time period during World War II and that Pacific War. It'd be very interesting. I've had the game. I've never actually played it completely through, but I have played several of the smaller scenarios and played a little bit of it, played around with it, and it's just a kind of game that you might not ever play it all the way through, but you have to have it if you're a war gamer. And I bought. There were 2 versions. One was the regular version, and then they came out with an Admiral's Edition. And the Admiral's Edition is much more detailed than the first version, and I have both. So if you're going to get one, you probably want to get Admiral's Edition because it's still being pretty much supported by Gary Grigsby and his team, and it has a very lively community. People are playing it still, and it came out probably 3 or 4 years ago, and people still play it constantly. You know, it simulates. You can go down to a 1-day turn, so it could take a long time. You know, you play 4 years, 1 day at a time. That can be a long time. Obviously, some days you won't do anything, and other days you will. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Yes. We look like we are in a good position so far. Come on, Kitchener. All right. March to the Sound of Guns, 227 to 133. That's the kind of odds that I think we can live with. Even if we lose this battle, the Germans will probably retreat. But I think we're going to win this battle. if you look at this little slider, the greens there, that usually means you're winning the battle. Not always, but usually. British victory, 29,000 men to 29,000 men. So it was called a British victory, but it was almost a stalemate. But hey, I'll take it. It pushed them out of Dortmund, which is exactly what I wanted. And we wait for the 15th day to process. Let's see what happened. I may advance aviation and chemical warfare. I have 2,700 in funds from when I played the print state funds cards, which is good. That's a good deal for me because I needed the funds. Look at all these divisions that have completed. Next episode, I will start gathering them up. 6. And nobody's even congratulated in these battles. It seems a little strange. Oh well. Let's see what's going on in the Italian theater. Well, this is where Salonika is. And then the Italian theater is over here. Bozen being besieged. Festung Bozen and Festung Trento is being besieged. And yeah, hey, I thought we moved some troops up to this guy. Oh, wait a minute, we did. And they combined with him. He's 61 and 49. So let's take some of these out. 49 and 48. Let's take another one of these. 43 and 48. Just my luck. What if this guy puts me on 49 and 48? I hate to do it, but let's take the artillery out. 48 to 48. And you see, as I play around with this to get to 48 to 48, his battle power of 567 is actually a little higher, even though I took a unit out. That's because his command points are efficiently being used. So I'm going to put him on defensive. He doesn't necessarily need to be on offensive. Him as well. I think that's a problem that I'm not getting any promotable generals. I don't know if that's something they, programmed in to be a lot harder to get them promoted or what, but I'm not getting any promotions. But anyway, I'm going to close this episode. Thank you for watching. This is my Let's Play of To End All Wars, and I am Gilmer. See you next time.